Ladies and gents, welcome back. Good news for firearms owners in Canada as the federal government cancels their pilot confiscation program in Prince Edward Island. We have news here. The Public Safety Canada has confirmed that to Saltwire Network that federal government no longer intends to launch a P.E.I. pilot of the gun buyback program before other provinces. Now, this news broke. Here's an article from thegunblog.ca. Liberal plus RCMP hope to test their mass gun confiscations on Prince Edward Island in December, briefing says. Now, this was leaked thanks to an ATIP request from the Blacklock's reporter, an Ottawa-based journalist outfit, one of the last doing subscription-based journalism in Canada. Check them out. Canadians have learned a few things about the Liberals' plans, or lack thereof, to confiscate our legally acquired property. Now, the blog goes on to say Canada's governing Liberals and the RCMP hope to use gun owners in Prince Edward Island as guinea pigs to test their confiscation tactics before going national, according to a government briefing made public 2 weeks ago. Some of the highlights from this is, beginning in December 2022, Prince Edward Island will be used as a pilot and will be the first point of collection based on the smaller number of firearms and based on the smaller number of people to go against the enforcement wing that you were hoping to bring in there. As a result, lessons learned, gaps analysis, and risk assessment would inform the Phase 2 national rollout planned for spring 2023. The crackdown was to be primarily led by Royal Canadian Mounted Police. Industry showed very limited interest in participating in the Liberal RCMP attacks. Now, just imagine being one of these officers going door to door to confiscate the property of law-abiding citizens in our country based on the decree of a bunch of politicians in Ottawa. And I say decree because this isn't the Bill C-21 that's going through the Parliament at the moment. No, this is about firearms that were just deemed prohibited by the Liberal government back in 2020. This is a completely different story here. This is them just saying your property is no longer legal to own, and we're coming for it. Source: document Public Service and Procurement Canada 2022 Minister's Transition Book, date August 2022, estimate published date the 29th of December 2022. Why does it matter? Prime Minister Justin Trudeau, mass gun confiscations targeting government licensed owners are on track to fail. The latest government memo shows that he has no idea how to execute his assaults and keeps missing his own deadlines. He ordered the attacks on May 1st, 2020, and is preparing more. Trudeau's crackdowns face massive and growing opposition from the public services and police. He also faces political, financial, and logistical obstacles. And again, logistical obstacles being the fact that people don't want to participate in this. Like I said, this is the government stepping above and beyond what they have purview to do and dictating down to the law enforcement in the country to do this. Now, people, of course, don't want to participate in this. And we see a lot of the provinces saying, no, we're not going to participate in this. Notably, Alberta, Saskatchewan, Manitoba saying, nope, we're not going to have this. Prince Edward Island, in context, Prince Edward Island has the lowest percentage of gun owners of any Canadian province or territory. The island has 6,444 men and women with federal firearm possession and acquisition, the PAL license. As of 2020. It may have gone up since then. Confiscation tactics that work against the island's gun owners may fail elsewhere. Now, Another thing to take into consideration here is that not all of these firearms that are being confiscated are firearms that people want to just use for hunting or sports. Some of these are family heirlooms. Some of these were passed down in one of our nation's oldest provinces, the oldest territories, where, you know, people's families fought in wars and have keepsakes from their, you know, from their elders, from their legacy, from the people that were around in their families, and pass them down to the generations that are alive today. And they plan on passing those down further. And the government wants to step in and take these family heirlooms away from them. So this is a big win, saying that they're not going to go ahead and do this. Now, the RCMP declines to comment. Robin Percival, spokesperson for the Ottawa-based RCMP, referred questions from from gunblog.ca to the Department of Public Safety, which is overseeing the political attacks. Blacklock's reporter reported on the ministerial memo earlier today. Read the public service minister's briefing below. And of course, I'll leave links to all this in the description down below, but we have opinions out there on Twitter. Raven News saying P.E.I. is now on the radar for the gun buyback program. Newfoundland is lined up for digital ID, and BC is mandated their medical professionals, talking about the Bill C-36, which we've gotten into in the channel. We're going to talk more about as well. Each province is getting cherry-picked. Unite and stand together, because if they are successful at chipping us away, we're done. That's true. And of course, this is the MO. Go after each individual province for different things, and come back at people. Come back after having done pilot projects in all these different provinces and figure out how to do it, and then they can blanket sweep the entire nation. This is the way things have been going. Now, different provinces have been saying, no way. This is Tyler Shandro on Twitter, saying he's the Attorney General of of Alberta. And he says it's becoming increasingly clear that Marco Mendicino's firearm confiscation plan is falling apart at the seams. See my full statement here. And of course, it's falling apart at the seams because, well, obviously people don't want this. But they're having a heck of a time trying to implement it and force it upon us. Last week, Minister Mendicino admitted that the federal government has still not figured out how to implement their firearms confiscation program. This admission comes shortly after the Canadian Association of Chiefs of Police called on federal government to not use police services to confiscate firearms. Now, media reports have drawn attention to a federal government memo that outlines Minister Mendicino's plans to confiscate firearms across Canada. The memo admits that efforts to provide sector companies to implement the to find private sector companies to implement the federal firearms confiscation program failed this summer. Nobody wants to participate in this. It's unpopular. And it could be very dangerous for these individuals. Some people are holding on to their firearms, and well, for some people, this is the last stand when it comes to this federal government. With no private sector companies willing to participate, the memo outlines how the RCMP will first be deployed to Prince Edward Island, which has been deemed to be a easy, low-risk target. Of course, this fell apart. The federal government is treating P.E.I. as a pilot that will help them learn on the job as they implement their confiscation plan through trial and error. Does any official police officer want to be a trial and error for going door to door and telling people they need to forfeit their firearms? This program was expected to cost $1 billion or more and has supposedly been in the works for 3 years. Back to the drawing boards, folks. Despite a mountain of money and years worth of lead time, Ottawa appears to be lost, especially when given their latest attack on hunting rifles and shotguns. At a minimum, they should proactively extend their amnesty that is currently scheduled to end in October 2023. Such a decision, however, would involve showing Canadian firearms owner a measure of decency, something that Minister Mendicino and his federal government is seemingly incapable of. Absolutely. This is the thing. Now, a federal court granted Alberta intervener status in the legal challenge against firearms. I reported on this earlier this past week. And yeah, well, we're pretty excited to hear this news. And this is seems to be a good trend in the right direction for not just for firearms owners in Canada. You have to understand this. This goes beyond the pale of firearms ownership. This goes beyond possession and acquisition of firearms. This goes into the realm of property rights. Do you have property rights in Canada? Can the government deem something that you own illegal and then come and get it from you, take it from you, without just compensation? Now, some compensation, in fact, has been given, but it has been offered. Now, these are the prices that they want to do for the gun buyback. And the thing is, Canada's governing Liberal Party offered to pay a measly $1,337 per AR-15 to government licensed owners who surrendered our rifles under the mass gun confiscation that begun in 2020, according to today's proposed price list. But here's the thing. People don't want to give up their goods. That's the thing. They didn't buy them so that they could sell them at a loss to the government, and that's absolutely just a fact here. Anyway, leave a comment in the comment section down below. Let me know what you think of this whole situation with the federal government actually finally backing down on this Prince Edward Island pilot project. Is this well? It's obviously a move in the right direction, but does this mean that we may have won or may be on the path of winning against the federal government and their gun confiscation program as a whole? Let me know in the comments down below, and we'll see you guys tonight in tonight's live stream at 6 p.m. 6:30 Pacific time, 9:30 Eastern. We'll see you then. Keep on trucking.